Yours.
How's everyone doing tonight? This is a little bit of a different setup than our past presentations. It's a little bit more like I'm a stand-up comedian, so hopefully you guys will be entertained. My name is Matthew Liu. I'm one of the co-founders of Origin Protocol. So at Origin, we are building protocols that will one day enable the sharing economy on the blockchain. So what does that really mean, and what is the sharing economy? So to start, let's look at some of the marketplaces that exist today on the internet. How many people here took a Grab or an Uber, perhaps? How many people here have stayed in an Airbnb sometime in the past year for a vacation? These are all examples of sharing economy companies. We're talking about the fractional usage of assets or services. So on the asset side, we have cars, we have houses and apartments. Splitting these things up, you get things like Airbnb, and you get Uber, you get Didi. You get Getaround, you get Zipcar. On the services side, we can think of companies like Elance or Fiverr. These contractor services where people use their time and they use their skills and are paid by other people in the sharing economy. These companies have done a really great job in the past decade, really changing the way that consumers live their lives, right? You can get a ride now to the airport with your mobile phone. You can stay in a stranger's house and have an incredible experience. But we can also do better. These companies have done a really, really great job changing people's lives, but now they are monopolies. They're local monopolies that have really, really outstanding businesses, but they don't really give back to the people that are contributing to these platforms, the individual hosts, the individual riders, the individual contractors. And at Origin, we believe we can build a better future for tomorrow. We can build the decentralized sharing economy. So what we're hoping to do is not necessarily clone Airbnb or clone Uber, but what we're trying to do is build the developer platform so that many other businesses can build marketplaces on top of us. I'll go into a little bit more detail later around the technical specifics, but for now, just imagine a world where buyers and sellers can transact peer-to-peer. There's no centralized entity like Airbnb or a Didi. Now people can connect directly on the blockchain. Before I get into what we're doing and how we're doing it, let's talk a little bit about why this is actually important. So what is the why? Why is this important to the world? There are three main reasons that we really, really care about. The first of which is we believe that the decentralized version of the sharing economy can significantly reduce fees. So what we mean by this is we can take the 15, 20, 30% fees that a lot of these centralized marketplaces charge, and we can take them down to zero, or at least close to zero. This is way better for both the buyer and seller. They can meet in the middle, and they can share the amount of money that would otherwise have gone to one of these centralized marketplaces. We can also reduce censorship. A lot of these companies right now are actually censored in certain markets. So you try to get an Uber in London or Vancouver, you're actually unable to do that. Even in Airbnb's home market, San Francisco, it's very heavily regulated. The local regulatory bodies there recently took down almost 50% of Airbnbs in San Francisco. And we're not just talking about these very well-known companies. There are other niche categories that are being censored by many different local governments across the world. In North Korea, you can't actually buy a Bible. So imagine a world where there's a decentralized marketplace that allows people to practice religion in North Korea. In certain other countries, you can't actually have a child surrogate. So if I'm a mother who wants to have a child, but it might be a little bit older, might need a little bit of support, I actually can't do that in certain markets. So imagine a future where buyers and sellers can transact the way they want to without governments, without local regulatory bodies telling them what to do, what is and what is not allowed. That is a beautiful future. And finally, how do we actually give back to early participants in these networks? So my co-founder, Josh, he recently had a ride with the 30th driver of Uber. So this guy has been around for something like 7 or 8 years. Guess what he's doing? He's still driving for Uber, and he's not happy about it either. So Uber takes more out of his transaction today than it did when he first started. He's still a 1099 contractor. He has no financial stake in Uber, and he's doing the same job, but working harder hours, making less. In tomorrow's world where we have the blockchain, we have crypto economics, we have these platforms that are self-regulating, that are decentralized, we're able to actually create the right incentive models to give back to these early participants. Now imagine tomorrow's world where the first 100 hosts on the new version of Airbnb, or the first 100 contractors on the new version of Elance or Fiverr, they actually get to participate in the upside as these networks grow. That's another way of imagining a better future than today. So what is the solution? What are we going to do about it? And how does that actually look? So today I present to you what we're working on at Origin. Origin is a three-part solution as we think about it. It is a protocol or a set of protocols. It's a platform, and it's also a community. Now, when we talk about a set of protocols, what we mean is a shared standard so that many different developers, many different businesses can speak the same common language. How do you interface with the blockchain? How do you think about identity and reputation across many different types of businesses in the sharing economy? How do you actually think about calendaring and intervals and arbitration and dispute management? Can we actually speak a common language and build and partner with other protocols so that this is all a seamless experience to end users, even though it's this new decentralized stack, something that's totally, totally different than what exists today. It's also a platform. So here at Origin, we know that just building technology is insufficient. We need to get developers and businesses to embrace us and embrace the standards that we're promoting so that many different businesses can be successful. So as a platform, we're going to be building a very easy-to-use set of developer tools. We're also going to be evangelizing to many developers and businesses all across the world, here in Singapore, all of greater Asia, in Europe, Australia, South America, Middle East, Africa, you name it. We want to be there. We want to work with developers and businesses to make sure all of the sharing economy across the entire globe ends up decentralized in the next decade. Finally, beyond developers, there's a broader community. There are people like you guys here today, individuals that have an interest in decentralized technologies like Ethereum or IPFS, or are just casually interested in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Doesn't matter. This is a global effort. This is going to require many, many people who have the right vision, who have this shared vision of building a decentralized future to be successful. It's a very, very ambitious and audacious challenge that we're presenting to ourselves. We asked ourselves this one question: can we actually replace multiple multi-billion-dollar companies like Uber, like Grab, like Airbnb, like Didi, and a whole host of other companies with open source, community-driven software, set of protocols with a developer platform, with a community that's all aligned in this vision to basically have the decentralized sharing economy? I'll just touch very briefly on our technology stack. So everything we do is open source. Our GitHub is open. You can check out our code. We welcome you to contribute to our code base. Again, this whole thing is designed to be community-driven. It's designed to be open. And it's nothing like a traditional company that's closed and centralized. We're using the Ethereum blockchain, IPFS, which is the interplanetary file system for distributed file storage, as well as JSON schema, a way for us to do client-side data validation. And using these three open source technologies, we've actually been able to build prototype marketplaces that look and feel very similar to existing marketplaces built on traditional web stacks. But these are all completely decentralized technologies. To date, we've built two products. We're building two products. One, which is catered at the developers that I mentioned, and the second that is a showcase of what we can do for end consumers. So one of the most important projects that we're working on right now, slated for mid to Q2 launch, is Origin.js. So this is a JavaScript library that will make it very, very easy for developers to interface with the blockchain. So you talk to any software engineer today, almost all of them know how to use JavaScript. Very, very few of them know how to use Solidity or other distributed decentralized technologies. But our goal is to make it dead simple, just like other companies before us. If you think of something like a Stripe or a Twilio, very developer-centric, but also very developer-friendly. You're able to build something in a matter of 30 minutes or an hour. Our goal is to allow people to launch their smart contracts and their content on IPFS within the first 30 minutes of looking at our API. The Origin decentralized application, this is our first attempt at showcasing how you can use the blockchain and bring content that is set in the blockchain back to the user in a way that is almost the same as what you would do with like a Python or Ruby on Rails app today. So you can actually create a very similar web and or mobile experience using these technologies. It might be a little bit slower. There may be some additional user frictions with having to use gas process transactions. Users will have to understand, what an Ethereum wallet is, but we're getting there. And so we have a demo up at demo.originprotocol.com. It's an alpha. You can play around with it. You can actually have some test transactions, buy yourself a crypto unicorn, buy yourself a fake mansion. We actually have user-submitted listings, and you're able to actually just play around and really see how a decentralized marketplace can be built on these technologies. Our extended product roadmap, so right now we're in alpha stage, we're working on our beta. While I'm here in Asia, we have a team in San Francisco that's cranking away, building out Origin.js as well as much more smart contract logic. We plan to have a beta by the end of this quarter where developers can start playing around with it with a targeted V1 launch in Q3 of 2018. Obviously, there's much more to build between now and then, and there's also much more to build after V1 launch. This is going to be a multi-year process, but we invite everyone in the audience to participate in the process, follow as we develop our platform, and also follow as we also develop our community and developer community that's hopefully going to build many successful businesses on Origin protocols. This slide is actually a little bit out of date since I came to Asia, but we're almost at 15,000 Telegram users now. We feel extremely blessed and fortunate that many people are aligned and buy into this shared vision that we have. If you are a developer, please join us on Slack. This is where we're doing a lot of our architectural discussions, figuring out how do we prioritize features, figuring out how we actually launch this thing. Otherwise, please join our Telegram or follow us on Twitter or Facebook. We're really, really interested in having a global audience and global community, which is one of the reasons why I've spent so much time out here in Asia, because Singapore, Hong Kong, Seoul, these are all hubs of blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, and decentralized technology enthusiasts. And we really, really want to get to know everyone in these communities because we think it's such an important region, probably even more important than Silicon Valley, where I actually come from. It's not just community members, though. We've actually been able to make inroads on the partnership front as well. To date, we've signed 16 partners that are already committed to building on Origin protocols, even though we're still in alpha stage. There are various different categories and also various different regions represented in our initial partnership set. So we have Kenya, which is an Australian company trying to build a decentralized version of Fiverr. We have B-Token, which is a decentralized version of Airbnb built out of San Francisco. We have a number of other companies, including Thrive in the advertising vertical, Acquaint in real estate, Odom in the education marketplace space. There are just many different marketplace use cases that can actually be replicated on the blockchain. And beyond the existing ones, there are actually many more that we probably have not even imagined. Niche, localized use cases where marketplaces can exist in this new blockchain world, but otherwise would not exist in the traditional centralized world, where you probably need to raise a couple $100 million of venture capital, you need to basically build your data monopoly. We're changing all of that so that now we can have hundreds or thousands of different marketplaces all across the world. So this final slide here is slightly repetitive, but it's also, again, just an invitation for everyone in this audience. We can't do this by ourselves. This is a very, very ambitious project. This is a paradigm-changing way of looking at the world. And our small team in San Francisco, even as we plan to grow very fast, it's going to be insufficient. We really want to partner with folks all over the world. Individuals that care about this vision that we're promoting, the decentralized sharing economy, engineers, community managers, people that can help us locally in Asia, in Europe, in Australia, Africa, et cetera, to help represent this shared vision, right? This shared mission of actually changing the world, empowering suppliers to earn more money, empowering early participants in the network to have a financial stake, taking away censorship. This is something that we cannot do alone. This is truly only going to be successful if it is a global effort that is driven by people all over the world. So if anything I said today struck a chord with you, I really invite you to join us. Join us on our Telegram channel. Join us on our Slack. Come talk to me afterwards. I'd love to hear from you. If you're an existing business that wants to think about what it's like to move to the blockchain, what are the ramifications there? Talk to me. I can, either help you out today, or we can put you in touch with some of the people on our team to help you think through the ramifications of going on the blockchain. If you're a new cryptocurrency or blockchain project that's thinking about building a marketplace, again, talk to us. We're still in alpha, but we very much want to talk to you as a potential partner to build on top of our platform, to join the other 16 companies that have already committed to building on Origin. Finally, if you're other projects that are working on protocols that might be useful within the Origin framework, so we've partnered with a decentralized insurance protocol, and we'll likely partner with a couple of the identity and reputation protocols as well. That's also really interesting to us as a technology partner. So just to close, thank you very much. Invite everyone here to get involved in the project in whatever shape or form you see fit. And thank you again for joining us here. I think not just myself, but also other projects really feel blessed that people care about what we're doing. And it's really, really motivating just to see so many people here. Thank you.
Thank you.